Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha and today we're going to talk about books. More specifically, we are going to talk about the books that I have read over the summer. I have literally waited until the last possible minute to do this video. I can literally see the sun setting. Like, the sun is setting. I can see it. So if the lighting of this video changes, just know it's because I procrastinated as hard as I possibly could on this. I do, however, want to talk to you about all the books I've read this summer before it gets too far into August. Granted, it was still like 110 degrees today in Texas, so it still feels like summer, but I know that a lot of you are more blessed than I am and are now experiencing fall weather. I can't tell you enough how much I need fall weather right now. I am not a summer girly. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but I'm not a summer girly. I am a fall, spring girly, but let's get started. Let me get my stack ready, okay? I wanted to film the intro before the sun actually went down. Okay, here we go. Okay, so June was a bit of a slow month for me. I only read 4 books, but that is only because I started that month off by finishing this chunker, this emotional roller coaster, which is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. I will admit to being one of those people who read ACOTAR first, right? And then read Crescent City, and then finally decided to read Throne of Glass, even though I had one of my best friends telling me that I needed to read it way before then. However, I can officially state that this is my new obsession. I have watched all the reels, I have watched all the TikToks, I have watched most of the YouTube videos because this is my new obsession, Throne of Glass. These are my comfort characters. This is my world that I want to live in. This is it. This is it. So you will be hearing more about this series for sure. Not only that, but this is my baby from now on. This was a great finale. This is the peak of finales. I can't speak enough about this. This was amazing. Read the series if you haven't. I know the first book is going to read so hard, like a very cliche YA book, but continue on. Please continue on, because it is adult fantasy. It is more than I can say. It is more than I can say. So this, all right? The next book I read was Tortilla Flat by John Steinbeck. I did not do a separate video for this because I'm going to read Canary Road by John Steinbeck, and that takes part in like the same universe as this book, and I kind of wanted to do them together. This book fell flat for me. This was like a 2 out of 5 star. This was like the lowest rated John Steinbeck I have read so far. Didn't really like this. It felt a lot like The Three Stooges. Like I was just reading about men making really bad decisions. So not my favorite John Steinbeck. This edition is very beautiful though, so you know I'm gonna keep it on my shelf. I'm slowly collecting like all the John Steinbeck books, and I will definitely have to do a video where I show you guys all the editions that I decided to choose. The next one, bless my heart, another obsession. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I buddy read this with Jessie. I'll link her Instagram down below. If you haven't already followed her, you definitely should. But we read this rather quickly. I'm not gonna lie to you. Probably within like 2 or 3 days. This was amazing. Every single chapter is gonna end on a cliffhanger. Highly recommend. This book is about, it's hard to say what it's about, but there's 2 different races of vampires, and there is a civil war going on between these 2 races of vampires. And there's also humans. The main character in this is a human who has been adopted by the king vampire, the emperor vampire, and she is put into a tournament to be granted a wish from a goddess. And during that tournament she learns things about her family, about the world around her, and she also falls in love. It's a little bit of an enemies to lovers. You definitely can tell where it's headed. I'm not giving you any spoilers because like you can definitely tell where it's headed. This is a romantasy. It is a beautiful romantasy. I loved this. Highly recommend. I do believe they're coming out with new covers, but if you haven't seen this already, you see it now. So do what you do. The next book I read was on my Kindle, and that was Haunting Adeline. I finally picked up the dark romance of book talk. If you don't know, this is about a woman who is stalked. She kind of falls in love with the stalker. Like I said, dark romance. So like she falls in love with the stalker, but she's also thrown into a dark underworld of human trafficking. Read all the trigger warnings because every single one of them are definitely, every single one of those trigger warnings are explicit in this book. H.D. Carlton does not hold back. Okay, H.D. Carlton does not hold back on any of those trigger warnings, so make sure you read them. I liked it. It was okay. I think I liked the first book more than the second, which I'm going to get into in a second. But I like the first book more. Zaid was definitely a lot more of a mysterious character in the first book. Zaid, if you don't know, is the main male character. He is the stalker. You do get his perspective, which is intriguing. But yeah, so dark romance. It is now one of the classic book talk dark romances. If you don't know already, I don't recommend if you're not partial to any of the trigger warnings. Like if you see the trigger warnings and you're like, that's not my thing, don't read it. Just don't read it. It's not going to be fun for you. The next book I read was also a buddy read with Jessie, and that was Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was probably my least favorite Emily Henry book, and you guys know that I am on the Emily Henry train. I am all aboard, ready to read anything that Emily Henry writes. This one was not a favorite though, however, and I think that is because it reads more like a breakup book than a romance book. Emily Henry is the queen of giving you a lot of relationship dynamics. In this book, it is like this group friendship setting. Two of these group members of this friend group fall in love, and then they break up, and they don't tell any of their friends, and they end up together at the end of this. Like they end up with their friends vacationing. None of the friends know they broke up, so it's kind of like a fake dating idea going on. Like I said, it reads a lot like a breakup book, at least for me, because you're getting flashbacks of the relationship, already knowing that they are going to break up. So that wasn't my favorite thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I pick up a romance, I don't want to be sad, and this book leans into the sadness. The ending was good. It was great. Probably my least favorite Emily Henry book. I know, crucify me. Ugh. Also in June, I DNF'd Fourth Wing. I DNF'd Fourth Wing. So come at me. If you want to talk more about that, you should follow me on Instagram and DM me, because I will rant and rave about why I DNF'd Fourth Wing. 1 star DNF. Got to 50%, called it quits. But I'm not here to talk about that because it was a DNF. Like I said, DM me on Instagram if you want to rant with me about Fourth Wing, or tell me why you like Fourth Wing, because I think I know, but no. Okay, the next one was on audiobook, and it was Below Zero by Ali Hazelwood. I loved this. This was a 5 out of 5 stars. This short story on audiobook was amazing. I highly recommend. Honestly, I have forgot a lot about this except for the vibes. That's a thing, right? If you don't know Ali Hazelwood, her whole genre in the romance is she likes to write books about female main characters who work in STEM and their male co-partners, their male co-parts. This book was... this is a short story, so I'm not going to give you much about it. Basically, I like this one out of all the other ones. It was very spicy. I liked the spice in this one. Okay, the next book I read was Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is the 3rd book in a trilogy that centers around a Christmas tree farm in a small town. This is, like I said, this is the 3rd book. This is where I started. Not mad about it. This one specifically is about the baker who works on the Christmas tree farm, and it is like a fake dating, friends to lovers romance, and it is just so beautiful. I want to live in this farm. I want to eat, breathe, and like sleep in this setting because it is so beautiful. The imagery in this book is amazing. The spiciness in this book is amazing. The Christmas tree farm, the cute cozy bakery, the small town dynamics. They have a phone tree where they gossip on it, and that instantly is a seller for me. Sold. Check off the list. We're there. This felt like a Hallmark movie meets Gilmore Girls. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I'm reading all 3 of them. I will tell you about Love Light Farms later because I did read the 1st book in the series. And I loved it too. But moving on, the next book I read was Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres. Basically, I am so backlogged on my book of the month picks that I was feeling guilty about picking more. So I was like, we gotta read some of these. And this is one that I read. This was decent. I'm gonna give this like a 3 out of 5 stars, if that makes sense. This was very atmospheric. It was a very atmospheric fantasy. This was about two sisters whose whole life, well, two sisters and like a random male character, which you'll learn about if you read this book. But the two sisters whose whole life was dedicated to guarding this magical library. Okay, and this was a lot more like, I'm gonna say like secluded mansion in the middle of the forest, magical, like blood magic going on, dark magic going on, underworld dark stuff happening, and two sisters who have a very strong bond learning how to survive in this world where they experienced a lot of trauma growing up. Loved it. I loved it. The twists and turns were great. I didn't see a lot of them coming. I do think this is slow in parts, and it is a little bit, it draws out quite a bit. Like I said, it really leans into the atmosphere for this book to work, and it is done very well. So this was a great fantasy book. The next one, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. All right, this was the finale, I think. So basically this author, this isn't the finale, basically this author has signed up for 6 books in this world, and they're like each a duology. So 1 and 2 are a duology, 3 and 4 are going to be duology, and 5 and 6 are going to be duology, all like following different characters but in the same world. That's probably more information than you need to know, so that's my bad, but liked this quite a bit. This is definitely leans a lot more heavier on the romance than the fantasy, but I still really liked it. We really got into character dynamics in this book. And yeah, there's not much to say about it because it is the finale. I don't want to give too much away, but this duology I highly recommend for all my romantasy followers and subscribers. This was beautiful, wonderful. The covers are beautiful. They just look nice as well on your shelf. So yes, Rain, the main male character in here. I don't know if I mentioned it, but top tier character. Just so you know, male character. The next book I read was finally the Atlas 6. You know how long I've had this book on my TBR by the cover. This was when all of Olivia Blake's books were independently published. Okay? Alright. I didn't like this very much. I didn't find much with the characters. This is a very character driven book. There's 6 different characters, 6 different POVs. I liked maybe 2 of those characters, but it honestly was really hard to keep up with each character. How many times can I say character? Each character and their dynamics and their personalities and like the traits that they had, because there was so much going on. I will say the twist at the end was a good one, but it wasn't enough to make me want to continue reading. So this was a bust. If you watched my haul video, you know I just bought 2 other Olivia Blake books. I didn't mind the writing, to be honest with you, so I'm still very interested in reading those books. Okay? The next one, Love Light Farms. Yes, I went out and physically bought these books. So I still have yet to grab Mixed Signals, but on one of my Target trips, this happened. Love Light Farms. So this one follows another character, the owner of the Christmas tree farm that I was talking about, and her adult, like, I don't think they met as kids. They did meet as kids. Her lifelong friend. And it's friends to lovers. And you guys know I am a sucker for friends to lovers. It's my favorite trope. But this one was super spicy. I listened to the audiobook. I think I liked Mixed Signals a little bit more than this one, but this was still so good. Just because of the setting. I don't even know what this town is called, but I want to live in this town. I'm so ready to read the second book too, because you get introduced to some of the characters in the second book in this book. Oh, I love it. Honestly, coming up into fall, highly recommend this book if you want like a Christmassy, fall-y kind of book. I recommend. Mixed Signals is a little bit more summery, so like this one, fall. Okay. I also read Under One Roof by Ali Hazelwood and Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood. Did not like either of them. that much. I think I liked Under One Roof more than Stuck With You. I'm not gonna lie to you, at this point in reading Ali Hazelwood books, kind of binging them as I got them from the library, I'm so sick and tired of the trope that she leans on, that is small petite pixie fairy girl and large hulking quarterback of a man. And like, for me to say that, it is very, like, for me to say that, it means something, because I really don't care about like characters, what they look like when I read a book, but Ali Hazelwood harps on this, I guess, trope, on this like physicality between her two characters, and brings it up every chance she gets. Okay, and maybe Below Zero didn't bother me as much because it was like one of my first Ali Hazelwoods, besides The Love Hypothesis, like reading her books again, but no. I'm gonna give that a hard no. Unless Ali Hazelwood can start writing about characters without those descriptors for their body, I will not be reading any more books from her. Not gonna happen, because it is so annoying. It is so annoying. I don't care how big he is. I don't care how small she is. It's not really a factor in me enjoying the romance. But bring it up again. One more time, Ali Hazelwood. Bring it up one more time. Losing my mind. The next book I read, Hunting Adeline. If you weren't prepared for the first book in this series, you were not prepared for the second book, because we amp it up by 1,000. Okay, now if you have read this book, Selby is my favorite. Okay, I love her. I love my little haunted house doll slaying men and women, demons. I love my little haunted house doll demon slayer. Okay, she's amazing, and she held it through this entire book. Okay, I loved it. The character dynamics between Zaid and Adeline were very interesting in this book. I would never hire Zaid as a therapist, and Adeline needs to go see a professional. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I said, it's another dark romance book talk book. It was very emotional, very triggering, so beware. Okay, so Carissa Broadbent, I decided to go ahead and read her other books, which is Daughter of No Worlds. This was a little bit of a disappointment, just because I think this was her OG series, and then she came out with the Nixia series. So this was her first one, and I definitely see her development as a writer. This one was not quite as good. It was a little bit more rushed. I still love the characters. I still think the characters have a lot of depth to them, but it was definitely more rushed, and that led me to not be as invested. I am going to continue with the series because I hear that it gets better as we go. Those are all the books that I read in the summer. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 books. I don't even know how many pages. I'll put it in the title. 15 books over 2 months is not too bad. I am starting graduate school in August, so I don't know if I'm ever going to read that many books in 2 months again, or at least in the foreseeable future. However, this was so much fun. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The summer vibes were here. I came, I saw, and I conquered. So that is my summer wrap up. Light is fading, so my camera is having a hard time focusing, so I should probably call it quits. We've been talking for quite a while. If you made it this far, make sure you subscribe for more content. I'm gonna be more regular about it, I promise, okay? This summer was hectic, so that's my bad, but I will get better, I promise. Alright, that's it. Bye. I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, subscribe, comment, like. I'm gonna go before the sun sets and this camera just loses its mind.